Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Criterion Corner. This is the segment on my channel where I pick films from the Criterion Collection or streaming on the Criterion Channel's website and give you recommendations, my opinion on these films, because Criterion collects a lot of wonderful movies. And I debated whether or not making this a Criterion Corner episode yet, because it technically hasn't released on Criterion, but as soon as it was announced, I was very excited to revisit this film. This was a film that I watched multiple times in my youth. This thing came out, I believe, in 2002, and I remember as a kid this genuinely horrifying me. And I always complained Criterion doesn't do enough horror films, and I was very excited that they added another horror film into their collection. And the movie I'm going to be discussing today is The Others. The Others is directed by Alejandro Amenábar. Grace is a religious woman who lives in an old house kept dark because her two children, Anne and Nicholas, have a rare sensitivity to light. When the family begins to suspect the house is haunted, Grace fights to protect her children at any cost in the face of strange events and disturbing visions. So, like I said, I watched this movie a ton when it was released. I remember this film was released, I think, in 2001, 2002. I watched it for the first time when I was like 12 or 13, and my brother and I thought this was the most terrifying movie in the world. We were kids. We were so excited to watch this movie, and I loved it growing up. And it's been several years since I revisited it, and it's always interesting when you watch a movie when you're younger to kind of see how it hits when you're an adult. And I absolutely adored this movie this time around, and I feel like there's a lot more that I was able to appreciate about the movie because I'm older and I'm more attuned to film and cinematography and little attention to detail, that I was able to love a lot more about this movie than I did when I was a kid. So as the plot description states, we're introduced to Grace, played by Nicole Kidman. She lives in this old house in the middle of nowhere with her two children, and we find out early on in the film that her two children have a sensitivity to light, where she said that they have like a reaction to it that it can actually cause them to die. So their house is completely draped in curtains. She has these keys that every time she enters a room, she has to lock the room right behind her. She doesn't keep any of the doors in the house unlocked. Well, early on in the film, she puts out a letter for help around the house because her husband has gone off to war. She is not 100% sure whether or not he's alive. He's been gone for a really long time. And these people show up at her door. They say they saw the post for the help. They'd actually worked in the house previously with the old owners of the home, and they say, we're more than willing to help. So she tells them all about her kids. She tells them about keeping the doors locked. And as the film progresses, weird things start to happen to the family. They start to see entities walking around. The little girl says that she sees this young boy who talks to her. The film just is an anxiety-inducing nightmare into a third act that goes absolutely crazy. So like I said, I absolutely love this film. For starters, I want to say, what a performance from Nicole Kidman. She is absolutely phenomenal in this movie, just as a protective mother who will do anything for her kids. The horror in her face, the way that she interacts with her children, especially like the family is clearly very religious. She teaches them these lessons from the Bible, and I believe a lot of it is rooted in Catholicism. And she's teaching them about like limbo and all these things that can happen if you don't follow the faith. When her daughter acts up, she makes her recite scripture and all these lessons for an entire day. And she clearly cares about her kids and wants them to be taken care of, but almost to an overprotective nature where she doesn't let them do virtually anything that she doesn't say. And it takes a really committed actor to give that great of a performance, and she is fantastic. The children in this movie do an okay job. There's some moments where some of their dialogue delivery is a little cringy, that it doesn't come off as the best, but I don't think any of the kids' performances detract from how great the movie is. I love the actors that play the servants in the film. They do a really great job. Christopher Eccleston from Doctor Who shows up in this, and he does really great while he's in the movie. But the best part about The Others is the atmosphere. This is a foggy, cold movie that really feels uninviting in the best way possible. You feel uncomfortable from the very first frame of the movie. And the sound design in this thing as well really provides for a very eerie and uncomfortable atmosphere that just keeps you hooked from the very first frame. There's a lot of really great editing and cinematographical choices that just create this expansive house that makes you just feel lost in it, and that there could be something creeping around every corner. There's a really great scene in the movie where Nicole Kidman goes into this storage room because the daughter says that one of these intruders has crept in there, and just the shapes of all the objects in there and her trying to figure out if someone's hiding behind something or under something. It's super unsettling. And what I like about the others is there's like no jump scares or anything in the movie to just like pop out in your face and make you scream. It's so much about what you don't see and the implications of what is there versus what you're actually seeing. The movie that this reminded me of the most is the horror film classic The Haunting, where there's a lot of things in that movie that you don't see, and it's all about what you hear and what your brain is perceiving. And that's what I really like about the others, is so much of this movie is about what you don't see and about what you're told, and that builds this world in your mind as to what could possibly happen. And in the third act, when this movie really starts to blow up and get very crazy, all the things that you have been told throughout the film and all the things that have been implied to you as the viewer make that experience so much better and make it pay off really well in the end of the movie. And it's just a really immersive gothic horror story that is so well told and well directed. And I was really impressed watching this all these years later. I'm very excited to pick up my Criterion copy of this when it is released. I definitely want to own a physical copy of this movie. I still own like a cheap DVD version of this movie, but I'm so glad that it's getting restored and that it's going to look really great through Criterion. I'm excited to see what kind of features are added on and everything with the director, because I really love this movie a lot. I love gothic horror movies. I love poltergeist movies. I think they're so much fun to watch, and this movie is 100% one I see myself revisiting right around the Halloween season. So have you seen the others? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I think this movie is absolutely fantastic. It is so well directed and well acted. It's definitely going to be in my rotation of films around the Halloween season for years to come. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.